So here's a connection that I noticed that I wanted to share with you all. So in chapter 1137, we are introduced to Figurlin Shamrock's sword Cerberus. It presumably has the power of the dog fruit model Cerberus, and in being an awakened zone, presumably it does not turn into a Cerberus from the sword itself, but the sword generates the body of the Cerberus, who still has properties of the sword that it came from. With that being said, I think this is a very interesting parallel to what happens in Enies Lobby. You see, in Enies Lobby, we have Oimon and Kashi, two giants who have a relationship with Bragi and Dory, and were blackmailed into helping the government for the sakes of their captains. However, once they found out that they were betrayed, they joined the side of the Straw Hats. During this arc, we are introduced to Funkfried, Spandam Sword. Funkfried is a sword that ate the basic version of the elephant fruit, right? The reason why I'd say he is more important to what we're seeing now with Cerberus is because, unlike, say, Lasso, the gun that ate the dog fruit Mito Dashud, held by Mr. 4 of Baroque Works, the reason why Funkfried is more important than him is because Lasso could not transform in the same way that Funkfried could. You see, Funkfried had a lot of very strange intermediate transformations. He could become a sword, and he could become an elephant, but he could also become this weird serpentine elephant blade that was held by Spandam, on top of just being able to turn his trunk into a blade when he was confronted by Frankie. So with that being said, I'd say he was the first item zone that we saw that had all these weird sort of in-between states, which then leads us to Elbaf, in which we see Cerberus being a evolution of what we saw with Funkfried. Additionally, if it wasn't too obvious already, it's also very interesting that we meet Funkfried in a time in which we are being introduced to portions of Bragi and Dory's crew, and then in Elbaf, the land of the giants, we are introduced once again to Bragi, Dory, Oimon, Kashi, plus the royalty of Elbaf, of which is being attacked now by Cerberus in Loki. What's funny about this too is that both of these more complex zones were held by government officials, very secretive government officials, as Spandam was the director of Cypherpole 9, a secret sect of the Cypherpole agency that had the authority to kill people. And then we have the Holy Knights, someone serving very secretively in Marijois. So I think that's a very cool parallel in itself. Also, both Spandam and Shamrock have fathers both connected to the government, and most likely got their current positions via nepotism, as Figurlin Garling was the supreme leader of the Holy Knights before Shamrock, and before he then ascended to being one of the five elders, thus leaving the position open for his son. And then Spandam's father, was a high official in the government as well, who most likely gave Spandam, his son, his job. But as you know too, which could be a sign of the future that was revealed in SBS, but Spandine actually got caught conspiring with a escapee from Impel Downs level 6, which then led to the former Cypherpole 9 agents defeated by the Straw Hat crew to be reinstated and become a part of CP0. So I wonder if something is going to happen to Figurlin Garling to correlate to what happened to Spandine. Time will tell, but I just wanted to point these things out because I found them very interesting. But with that being said, give me your thoughts and tell your friends about Polypede. What?